Hello everyone and a very good afternoon. Today we start with a small story. There was a very powerful king and he was highly intelligent and very brave. His courtiers and his queen were clever and innovative. The king had a passion to learn for new things. So he went ahead and learnt the famous embroidery, the Kantha of Bengal. He brought in the best artisans to teach him. He patiently went through the process of learning. Slowly, he became good and kept improving on his talent. When he saw his work, he was very happy, for consistently he was creating new designs and new ideas. One day, like all kings, he decided to go hunting. His hunting party were busy searching for a game when a deer crossed the king's path. The king on his horse went after the deer, and in this run, he left his hunters behind. He was deep into the forest when suddenly he was overpowered by dacoits. They took him, bound him, and kept him in captivity. The king waited in vain for the soldiers to rescue him. But the forest was too deep and too dense. The soldiers could not find the king. After a few days, the king told the dacoits, "I have a passion for embroidery." He asked for cloth and embroidery material so that he can spend his time in captivity fruitfully. The dacoits laughed at the idea of a king doing embroidery, but they brought him what he needed. The king made a most beautiful, intricate, colorful design. When the dacoits saw it, they wanted to sell it. In the market, people told them that it's an exquisite, beautiful piece of embroidery and the queen will give them a very good price. The queen immediately recognized her husband's work. The king had actually beautifully drawn an intricate design. It was a map for the soldiers to find him. Dacoits were caught and the king was saved. Moral of the story: be a lifelong learner. It will save you in all adversities. This story has inspired me like a child. I used to wonder when I looked at the stars how they shine. I wanted to be as bright as them. Bright meant learning, knowledge, wisdom. Learning will always help knowledge, and wisdom will help you to take the right decision. Like the example of the king, learning can never be done in a single day. Every day it has to be a learning so that you can evolve. For me, learning was like my best friend. Right through my childhood, it has helped me in situations like the North Star, showing the way to a lost traveler. In this dynamic world, which is constantly changing, you cannot stop learning after your education. Instead, you should embrace learning every single day. Experience, they say, speaks, and I'm here to share mine. I was born and brought up in Mumbai, a most wanted girl child. India was conservative then, and girls had limited options. However, my grandfather was a visionary. He believed that women should work shoulder to shoulder with her counterpart. He said that if women work, 1 plus 1 does not make a 2, but it becomes 11. So at the age of 9, when all my friends were busy playing, my grandfather was teaching me accounting. My father instilled in me confidence and integrity so that it could help me in all situations in my life. And whereas my mother taught me to embrace discipline of self-reliance, and my grandmother not to leave her behind, she helped me develop spirituality, which has served me all these years. Through these early experiences, it had become very clear that each person we meet in this journey called life, everyone has come to teach us something we need to learn from them. It is up to us to create that spark of curiosity, to take that learning and embrace it. To continue with my experience, I was a very young and naive girl when I was married in a small town in Assam. Just like the Southbow serials, humiliations and allegations never stopped. The names they bestowed on me was unbelievable. I refused to accept what they said. Those were the hardest days in my life. But the confidence my father had instilled in me and the curiosity of searching something positive in everything kept me alive. I continued my painting and my sculptures. Over time, I became better and better. And I started having exhibitions in Assam, and then went on to have the famous art gallery, Jahangir Art Gallery in Mumbai, the Academy of Fine Arts in Calcutta, and many famous art galleries. I got rave reviews and I was on cloud 9. They say life is the best teacher. We need to learn, to take those learnings, take the learnings and accept them. I delivered my first child at the age of 20. I now had to learn to be a mother, and my daughter was my teacher. A small, pretty little girl, Pooja, with love and awe in her eyes. She was the apple of my eye. But back then, I had my own trials and tribulations. The challenges I was going through made me vulnerable. A few years later, I was pregnant with my second child. The torture and agony I went through was unimaginable. Those were the most turbulent times for me. But When my son was born, he was a divine blessing, the most obedient, the most caring, the most responsible, no tantrums, no fussing. He was like an angel in my life. I named him Ashish, which means blessings. The amazing lesson he taught me was, Mom, all this shall pass. Have patience. Abhishek, the coronation, my third child, brought joy and happiness. The great lesson he taught me was, Mom, you do not need to scold us. If you explain with love, we will all listen. Pearls of wisdom from my children were collected in my box of learning. Learning and curiosity were now my mantra. At this juncture in life, I carried my empty cup to be filled again and again with learnings. I learned to accept all situations with empathy without resigning to faith. I learned the power of patience and love. These lessons served me deeply as life continued to throw hardships at me, and now my health was deteriorating. I started having problems with my back. The doctor told me, your back is bending. You have the degeneration of the bones. I was in shock. The reports were terrifying. He told me no uncertain terms, no bending whatsoever, no painting, and a whole list of do's and don'ts. The passion of my life, painting, was laid to rest. It was life-shattering. I was heartbroken. But slowly, I started accepting my condition with grace and looked for new avenues. I started getting involved in Ficky Ladies organization, commonly known as FLOW. Soon, I was asked to be the chairperson of FLOW Kolkata chapter. It was a big boost in my portfolio, a feather in my cap. It presented a whole new opportunities for me to learn, a whole new way for me to gain knowledge. I now needed to learn to organize and get speakers, create workshops, and have panel discussions galore. All these were lined up for my members so that they can also learn and gain knowledge. This chapter in my life had actually made me a stronger person each day. My success in this helped me get nominated as the council member of SARC Chambers Women Entrepreneur Council, known as SWEC, where I interacted with a whole lot of foreign delegates and leaders, constantly learning about international trade and the power and role of women entrepreneurs in this world. I was now evolving and my journey continued. Age has no bar in learning. And now I started my new journey by learning Reiki. This was my new foray into the holistic healing approach. I learned past life regression therapy with a few masters. Radical healing modality gave me an insight about life and how to live it. Atman, my mentor, explained that every problem, every adverse situation is like a dirty wrapper wrapped around a most beautiful gift, the learning. Go for the gift, she says, and the wrapper will be tossed away. But if you discard the gift because of that dirty wrapper, the problems will keep coming back with double the ferocity till you learn how to accept the gift, the learning. Then came sound healing in my life. It's an experiential, powerful modality which helps people release their stress, tension, anxiety, also helping them with their physical, mental, emotional, and psychological issues in their lives. Quanto Life, where the founders Shiva and Mansi handed me the reins and told me, go ahead, have workshops and create it. I was in self-doubt. So many questions. How? When? What? Where? Why? But I rose to the situation, had successful workshops with participants from all over India and the world, raising their vibration, raising their consciousness. It was like a new universe has opened its doors for me. Friends, we all need to accept and learn from each situation. Take the gift, the learning, within that dirty wrapper, the problems, the adversities. Learn from each situation, each person we meet in life. Collect those learnings and embrace it. Here I am at a young age of 70, ready to start on my new journey to embrace new learnings and fill my empty cup. Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience, and thank you TEDx for giving me this opportunity.